Race 2 of the weekend in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Welcome to Spa-Francorchamps. David Addison trackside. Joined us nice and early as the cars make their way out onto the grid, ready for this 50-minute race with, as ever, the mandatory pit stops and the drivers, in some cases, with two driver entries. Some are soloists, and there's going to be a delay to the start of the race because we've had in the preceding Formula Renault Euro Cup race an accident up at this part of the circuit, up at Les Combes, and so as the cars are being brought round behind the Lamborghini Urus as the leading car, they're going to, I suspect, have to deviate first of all anyway through the escape road up at Les Combes, and the track will need to be swept because we've had a couple of cars collide on the last lap, as it happened, of the earlier race, and the net result was that one rolled and there was quite a significant amount of damage to the two cars. So the field will go past the incident zone up the escape road. Yesterday we had a second win of the season for the British drivers Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton, and it was Stuart Middleton in the second stint who was able to battle his way into the lead. Jack Bartholomew ran fourth in the early part of the race, but another, as we saw at Silverstone, impressive stint by Stuart Middleton put that car into the lead. Second yesterday was Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev, the winners of the two races at Zandvoort, and then finishing third, Karol Basch and Bartosz Pawliecki, who had looked good in the first part of the race, but then the car, it was just never as strong in the second stint, so that car ending up in third place. Let's join our reporter Dakota Jane with yesterday's winner, Jack Bartholomew.
Jack, now today's a really interesting race. Yesterday we had boiling hot weather, and today we've got fog, and it's quite cooled down, hasn't it? What do you think the race is going to be like today? Yesterday you obviously won.
Obviously, yesterday was a perfect day. We got the strategy perfect and everything played into our hands. Today, the weather should hopefully, obviously it's the same for everyone, but the tyres should last a bit longer. But obviously, then again, there's less grip on track. So it's hard to say, really, but I think we've got a bit of a plan in place. Obviously, depending on how the race plays out, if we can stick to that plan or not, we'll see. But obviously, always going for the win.
Now, yesterday we saw how important pit stops really played out to be. You guys had the fastest pit stop of 1 minute 28.4 seconds. Incredible pit stop time, by the way. Is it going to be the same today?
Yeah, we'll try and be even closer. I mean, 4 tenths, why throw 4 tenths away when we could maybe be 1 tenth over the time?
What do you think the most technical part of the track is?
There's a lot of time to be had in Sector 2, obviously. It's the longest sector. It's where all the real technical stuff is. Sector 1 is mainly high speed. Sector 3 is mainly high speed, and they're quite short. So that's where the big balls comes in. But obviously, Sector 2 is really important to be good technically and, you know, focus on traction and that side of things.
Is it nice to drive the new evolution of Super Trofeo around here?
Yeah, I've not driven a Trofeo car around here before, but I can definitely say it's more fun than a GT4 car, that's for sure.
Let's see how you go, Tate. Good luck, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So Jack Bartholomew, graduate of the BRDCF 4 and then GT4 scenes. He's a Middle East champion in Lamborghini Super Trofeo, and turning his attention to the European Series this year. He's been, of course, a regular pace setter at the Lamborghini World Finals for the last few years. This year that moves to Jerez as it continues to move around Europe. We've gone from Valencia to Imola to last year Vallelunga, this year Jerez. Now this is how they're going to line up on the grid based on the second qualifying session, and it's going to be Alberto Di Folco's car that starts alongside Stuart Middleton. Kiko Galbiati third on the grid in a car that retired early yesterday after a poor start by Vito Postiglione and then contact and damage early on in the race. Sergei Afanasiev is fourth ahead of Niels Lagrange, then Samuel Stalecka starting sixth ahead of Bartosz Pawliecki, Julian Falchero with Mikko Escalinen ninth on the grid, and Robert Zwinger rounding out the top 10. At the back of the grid is the car of Libor Dvoracek, and that is one of the cars that runs in the AM Cup, the championship broken down into pros, pro-ams, the Lamborghini Cup for the very new or inexperienced drivers, and also there is the AM contest itself. And we've got problems there for number 21. Look on the installation lap. That is the car of Andrei Lewandowski, who's normally a front runner in his class, and Andrei Lewandowski's car is stranded coming out of the pit lane. So that is a big drama. Let's go back to the grid quickly.
Danny, now I just spoke to the winners of yesterday, Jack Bartholomew. Actually, he started fourth yesterday, so they showed that it's really possible to come from fourth and finish on the podium.
Of course, we'll try our best. We know we have the speed, so I hope Sergei can have a good start and that we can be there. And then, I will try to finish it off just like Zandvoort.
Now, yesterday you were a little bit disappointed with the result. Today, are you on it for revenge?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yesterday was unfortunately really bad with the pit stop, but now yeah, we have to take revenge.
And is it hard to manage the tyres between this weather and yesterday's weather? Sorry, it seems a little bit two very different conditions for your tyres.
Of course, now it's much colder, so it should be better. So yeah, hopefully we can push just a little bit more, and yeah, we'll see at the end.
We'll see at the end. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the grid now starting to form, but the question mark is over number 21, this car of Andrei Lewandowski, who is a very rapid driver ordinarily within his class, the GT3 Poland car. It's up to Pro-Am this year, Gregor Maczulski and Andrei Lewandowski. Lewandowski has graduated also to Blancpain GT racing this year. But the car, sadly, stranded. Whether it can be brought to the grid, we'll have to wait and see. Look down, is there still a gap? I think it might have closed up the grid, so I think everyone is now present and correct. Let's have a quick look at how the championship stands. Sergei Afanasiev, Danny Cruz, the leaders, 11 points to the good over Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew, winners yesterday, therefore moving up to second. Karol Bash and Bartosz Pawliecki now third, and it's down to fourth for the crew that came here as the championship leaders, namely Vito Posiglione and Kiko Galbiati. Then you've got Davide Venditti, who is fifth, and he's got with him this weekend Alberto Di Folco as a different co-driver. This is the overall standing, so of course there are some that look a long way down, but actually they're doing quite well in their classes. And amongst those, a few not here this weekend either, some dropping in and out of the championship this year. So Alberto Di Folco is the driver on pole position. Davide Venditti having done the opening stint yesterday. It's the driver starting who did the qualifying time here. And Alberto Di Folco, you will find at the front of the grid, an experienced driver, having raced in this championship over the years, as well as Lamborghinis in the International GT Open series. And he was the Pro-Am champion back in 2014. So they're looking down from Eau Rouge. The countdown continues, a 50-minute race, pit window between 20 and 30 minutes of the race. Everybody has to make a pit stop, and it's longer if you're on your own than if you are a double driver entry. And one of the double driver entries is that on pole, the second driver, Davide Venditti.
Davide, una partita la prima, ma questa sì, molto difficile gara.
Sì, sarà una gara molto difficile perché siamo concentrati soprattutto sulla gestione, visto il tempo che non sappiamo se sarà una gara totalmente sull'asciutto oppure ci sarà un momento in cui dovremo cambiare le gomme per mettere gomme da bagnato, quindi siamo molto concentrati sul gestire la gara e sul mantenere la posizione guadagnata dal mio compagno Alberto Di Folco con un'ottima qualifica. Colgo l'occasione per ringraziare il team Target Racing per l'ottimo lavoro che ha fatto e Lamborghini Squadra Corse.
So let me just translate what David has said here. I asked him that he's starting on the first line of the grid. He's going to leave first here. Yes. It's a really tough competition. He said today's going to be really tough to work out the tyre strategy. He said thank you to the team for giving him this opportunity to start first. Good luck for your race.
Thank you so much. Grazie mille, grazie a tutti. Buona giornata.
Thank you.
So Davide Venditti then could well be a race winner, especially given the pace of Alberto Di Folco in the first stint. But it's going to be fascinating to see how Di Folco shapes up against Stuart Middleton, the British driver, lining up alongside him, because yesterday it was a spirited chase for sure by Di Folco that netted fourth place in the end. Venditti not yet as quick, so we need to wait and see what his pace is like as we await then the start of the race. The race due to be underway in 40 seconds time, and it clearly will not be, as we still have the delays up at Les Combes. So the car and the barrier and the incident from the earlier race all needing attention. So that's why we have this delay to the start of Lamborghini Super Trofeo Race 2 of the weekend, as we have a quick walk up the grid. There's the car started from fourth on the grid of Sergei Afanasiev. Behind is number 69, Samuel Stadecka, going first today. And then number 12, Julien Falchereau, the French former Formula Renault racer, behind the wheel. And that's the car that he shares with the Georgian, Shota Abkhazova, the Artline Team Georgia entry that runs in Pro-Am. And Shota Abkhazova has had a good year, in fact, within the Pro-Am competition. Because initially with Harold Schlegelmilch, because he's co-driver. 3 victories have gone the way already of Abkhazova coming to this weekend. So the Georgian motorsport impresario, racer, team owner, circuit owner, you name it, he is going to do the second stint in the car today. And another man to watch is going to be in the second stint, Karol Bash, whose car, number 8, starts on the 4th row, started by Bartosz Pawliecki. Karol Bash with Dakota.
Karol, what's happened? You're starting all the way back here. Yesterday you finished 3rd. I know it's not quite the result you wanted. It was a really difficult race yesterday. Today could be a different story though, right?
Yeah, yesterday was a little bit difficult, but I leave the car on the first position. Today we start 7. We want to go to the front. Yeah, we'll make. I hope we make maximum we can, and we will go on the podium. So, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Now the new evolution of Lamborghini, the downforce is better. It feels better to drive. What do you think?
No, I really enjoy to drive with this car and this cup. So, we are happy to be here.
I can tell you're shaking a little bit. Are you okay?
No, just I am really focused to to go in the front, and I hope that he can make a really good start, and then we will finish on the good pace.
Dobra robota. Let's hope you have a good job. Go.
Let's go.
So Karol Bash ready to go. Bartosz Pawliecki, who is new to car racing at this level this year, is his co-driver. He's raced in the Benelux and Central European Clio Cups and the Audi TT Cup, but coming up to much more powerful Pucker GT machinery for this season. So there on the front of the grid is the Imperiale racing car. Further back on the grid is Kiko Gabbiati, starting 3rd for this race on his qualifying time. This is the car he never got into yesterday because Vito Postiglione had an accident at La Source early on, bounced into the side of a slower car as he was trying to make progress because he had a bad start. There is Vito Postiglione, always a front runner in this championship, yet to be the champion, much to his chagrin. And he gives important words of advice to Kiko Gabbiati, who we know is a quick driver. He arrived on the scene first time out really in the World Final at Valencia and was bang on the money straight away and has been a very, very quick Pro-Am peddler ever since. But of course, it doesn't matter how quick you are as a pro in that class, it's all down to the AM's pace. Well, now he and Vito Postiglione are 2 pros. They run together and were victorious in both of the Misano races, but actually you might have anticipated more success given their respective track records. So looking down onto the grid, present and correct does look like the GT3 Poland car of Andrei Lewandowski. So that means the grid is complete. And it's going to look like this as we stroll up it with Alberto Di Falco starting on pole position in number 9 and Stuart Middleton lines up alongside in 32. Let's just slalom our way past a few people and go and greet Kiko Gabbiati, who starts 3rd, and Sergei Afanasiev is 4th on the grid in number 3. Number 30 starting 5th is started by Niels Lagrange, the Belgian driver, and Samuel Sladecka is alongside. On row 4, the green car is that of Bartosz Pawliecki, and Julien Fanchereau lines up alongside in the Pro-Am class car ahead of the versatile Finn, Mikko Askalinen, and he has Robert Zwinger lining up alongside. On the 6th row of the grid, you've got Gilles Vannelet, one of the drivers doing the 24 hours in the car he shares with Nico Goma, and then alongside him is Jakob Noll, whose car dropped away late race yesterday. Andrei Lewandowski on row 7 alongside the Greek driver Antonios Rossos. Row 8 is Benoit Semelin starting today alongside Joseph Collado. The 9th row is regular Lamborghini Cup champ Gerard van der Horst alongside the Brit Stephen Lickerish. On the 10th row is JM Littmann and the experienced German driver Oliver Freimuth, who's been in one-make categories of one sort or another for decades now. The 11th row, the Thai driver Suphachai Weerabornpong, and Hans Fabry lines up alongside for Imperiale Racing. And at the back of the grid, it is Libor Dvoracek in the Michelet Motorsport car, the sister car to that of Jakob Knoll and Josef Zaruba, that ran well in the first stint yesterday. Oddly, given Knoll's anticipated pace, fell away later in the 50 minutes. So 3 minutes to go before we get the race underway. Now down to 2 minutes before we get the parade lap underway. So we are running, as I say, rather late at Spa after the dramas in Formula Renault, but engines now being fired up. The grid is about to clear, and then the very distinctive Lamborghini Urus will set off, and the parade lap, the formation lap, will be underway. Bernaldi team sprint off, and their car on the outside of the front row. Target Racing on pole position. Davide Venditti and Alberto Di Folco, and Bernaldi on the outside of row 1. There is Niels Lagrange's view in the car that yesterday was involved in that skirmish with Vito Posiglione. Fingers crossed today, no such dramas as the Urus sets off. Green flag waved, and Alberto Di Folco very definitely wants to get on with this. So away he blasts, and everybody now weaving around to generate the warmth in the Pirelli rubber to get the pressures up. There at the back, away goes Libor Dvoracek down towards La Source. That bright red car with the yellow mirrors of Superchai Wiraborwampong that pitted yesterday had dramas, and comes then through La Source as the field at a moderately sedate pace now will quicken in due course. Then they, of course, can go at a proper speed to get the warmth into the rubber. Downhill they come. Spa circuit, a fabulous place to come and race one of these cars. The Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit is next, and then it will be Jerez, the new venue for the World Final in October. So there, the cars come towards Eau Rouge, and then up towards Raidillon and onto Les Combes. The fans overlooking the pit straight get ready for action. And so too to the drivers, so too to the pit crews, whose real task in this is to release the car at the right time, because if you're under on the regulation pit stop time, then you end up with a penalty. There is the cement dust put down up at Les Combes, where we've had the incident between the Formula Renaults and liquid spilt, so the road might be a little slippy for the first couple of laps. 98 seconds is the pit stop time if you're a double driver entry. It's 3 seconds longer if you are a soloist, because you are deemed to have an advantage by knowing what the car and the track all feels like, because you've been out there for the first stint of the race. So just to try and balance it a little, you get the longer pit stop. So the car's down through Pouhon, and Alberto Di Folco, the man starting on pole, will be on his toes, getting the cars through the bus stop, ready to accelerate away and try and steal an advantage. But the way that Stuart Middleton went in his stint yesterday, impressive, and we'll see what he can do in the course of this race. Whether he will stay out for the maximum pit stop window is between 20 and 30 minutes, so stay out for as close to the 30 as you can. We'll have to wait and see how the team plays it, because if he's quicker than Jack Bartholomew, as yesterday seemed to suggest, then he might be given a fair amount of driving chores in the first part of the race. Keep an eye to the battles lower down as well in the Lamborghini Cup and in the AM contest, as well as Pro-Am, as the field now turns through campus. There, number 66, Jakob Knoll, starting today. As I say, that car ran well early on yesterday, but Knoll fell away. He's raced in Super Trofeo over the years, raced in the FIA GT3 series, in the Renault Megane Euro Cup, in International GT Open, in ADAC GT, so he's an experienced driver, but it just didn't click for him yesterday. There's Niels Lagrange in number 30 going through, former Belcar racer as well as Lamborghini peddler, and this is his view heading up now. So towards the bus stop comes Niels Lagrange, and he will get himself into position alongside Samuel Sladecka. 98 there is Gerard van der Horst, whose teammate of years past, William van Dijssen, having a year away from Lamborghini racing, but Gerard van der Horst is back to see whether he can take yet another championship title, because he's really been the man to beat in the Lamborghini Cup. 3 in a row he's had of winning the title within that class for the inexperienced gentleman racers. So 50 minutes about to get underway as the cars now then make the way to the bus stop chicane, and it's going to be the Italian driver Alberto Di Folco versus the Brit Stuart Middleton as they make the sprint up in a moment towards La Source, with Di Folco on the inside, with Middleton on the outside. Who is going to get the advantage at La Source? We're ready to go racing then. It's race 8 of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe for 2019, and a great start by Di Folco and a good start too by Kiko Galbiati in the green car. Also on his toes there, look, is Niels Lagrange on the inside as they dive down to La Source. On the outside line is Stuart Middleton, also on the outside running way wide Sergei Afanasiev. And this is Niels Lagrange's view as back onto the road comes the Russian driver ahead of him. Downhill they plunge then for the first time. Di Folco it is that's leading the way. Middleton second, and then Afanasiev in third place. Fourth is Lagrange, and then out of the battle between the two of Kiko Galbiati and Bartosz Pawliecki, the Imperiali Racing Green twins, who is ahead as they make the run up towards Les Combes for the first time. The race leader, Alberto Di Folco, on a mission to try and fill that gap as quickly as he can over Stuart Middleton in second place as they break now and turn their way through Les Combes for the first time. Challenge made on the inside there. 77 is Stephen Licorice, the British driver who's raced New Shape Minis, raced Carrera Cup as well over the years, and having another spell of Lamborghini racing as the leaders come through Bruxelles for the first time. Drop downhill. But Alberto Di Folco it is, trying to make good his escape now. So Di Folco from Middleton in second spot. Now you're riding on board with Niels Lagrange as they come into the fast left-hander of course. Sweep through the corner now. Lagrange trying to make his way up from 5th on the grid. To the pith path for the first time, and Alberto Di Folco has the advantage. Stuart Middleton chasing on behind him. And as ever in these races, it's not only the battle that you have now, it's the battle in the second stint to look forward to. The relative pace of Venditti versus Jack Bartholomew, but there's an awful lot that's going to pan out before we get to that pit window. Here is the mid-pack squabbling down towards campus, in the midst of all of which you've got Robert Svinger. There's also Nico Gomar's car that he shares with Gilles Vannelet. Vannelet behind the wheel, and then you've got Andrei Lewandowski in the grey and orange car right on the back of Vannelet. Here they come up now towards the approach to Blanchimont through the Cours Paul Frère. Lewandowski hustles on, very quick driver in the AM class in years past, now in Pro-Am this weekend with Gregor Butchulski. Lewandowski, one to watch to try and work his way up through the class rankings here as the leaders come out of the bus stop for the first time. It is Alberto Di Folco leading at the end of lap 1 by over a second already. Stuart Middleton is 1.2 seconds back. Afanasiev is third, Niels Lagrange is fourth, fifth is Galbiati, sixth is Pawliecki, seventh is the grey and yellow car of Slanecka. In 8th place is Falchero. 9th there, Mikko Escalanen, and a change for 10th possibly. Robert's finger on the inside just fends off Gilles Vannelet as they come now out of La Source. Downhill they run, the climb up the hill now. So the race leader is Alberto Di Folco. He's 1.2 seconds clear at the moment, and Jack Bartholomew starting to drop away a little bit in that second spot. Afanasiev is third as the cars now come through Les Combes. In 4th place is Lagrange, and he's under attack. Look, Kiko Galbiati is next up as they swing their way into the right, left, right sequence. Battle on there. Look, Vannelet goes ahead around the outside. So Gilles Vannelet takes the place away from Robert's finger. That puts him up into the top 10 as the cars now accelerate their way down to Bruxelles once more. So Alberto Di Folco hangs on to the race lead, and there the battle is between 99 of Robert Svinger, trying to get himself back ahead of Vannelet, but at the same time keep Andrei Lewandowski at bay. Next in the Cuban, while Semoulin also hustling on. Semoulin trying to play catch-up in that car that runs within the Lamborghini Cup, so it's pretty well placed actually in the hands of Semoulin at the moment. 13th overall and the class leader. Jakob Noll still only 14th, and like yesterday, not making progress, oddly. Now Stuart Middleton in second spot is on a mission here. He's got himself up now, not any further in terms of places, but in terms of speed, quicker than Di Folco in the first sector. So Middleton in second spot chases the leading car of Target Racing, and Alberto Di Folco it is clearing the race lead. There he is, but is that gap going to be down markedly by the end of the lap? No, because although Middleton did the absolute best sector 1, that is countered in sector 2, Di Folco does the absolute best there. Leaders then down towards the bus stop, and through comes then the Target Racing entry. There is number 9, Alberto Di Folco, into the right, into the left, and then over the timing line they will sprint up towards the end of the lap now. So the leaders go by, and the gap is still 1.2 seconds. And actually, there's only 34 thousandths between the lap times, so evenly matched for sure, De Falco and Middleton. Afanasiev third. Yesterday, saying Danny Cruz backed it up in the conversation pre-race that they'd rather been hampered by a slow car in the pit lane. It was a pit lane drama that cost them a win. Didn't really, because Afanasiev never got the chance, never got the pace to fight back against Stuart Middleton. He was overtaken by Middleton as he rejoined and stayed behind him. So they may have not had a great pit stop, but it wasn't purely a back marker that was to blame. There was a lack of pace relative to the second stint of Middleton, who is in second place in the race at the moment as the cars now come up towards Les Cons once more. They turn, and they're looking further back down the order. You've got Julien Faltrou in 8th, Mikko Eskelinen is 9th. Now, Eskelinen, the Finnish driver, currently leads the AM category, and he's under attack because right there behind him is Vanelay, and then Lewandowski, who's a pro-am, up the curb, is ahead of Svinger. So as we look at a replay of the start, it's Eskelinen versus Vanelay, 9th and 10th, but for AM honours. Replay of the start, and you see the good getaway made by De Falco, a good effort too by Niels Lagrange up on the inside line there, squeezing ahead of Kiko Galbiati. On board from Lagrange's perspective as they got to the braking zone, turn through the hairpin, and the Lippert car tries to gain a pace, but wait for Afanasiev. There he is, checks back in. Down the hill they tumbled, with De Falco trying to build that gap. And Afanasiev in 3rd place behind Stuart Middleton, but not yet close enough to have a go at him. So that is how the cars powered through on the opening lap of the race. And also getting a replay here of a spin coming down through the bus stop. And that was number 79, Joseph Collado, who is another of the drivers within the Lamborghini Cup in the AGS Events car. Quick driver normally within that category. Leaders come out of the bus stop and over the line. And up front, currently, it is De Falco from Middleton, and the gap between those two is going up 1.8 seconds now. So Alberto De Falco does the fastest lap of the race, and De Falco's start procedure is under investigation. So the start procedure is being looked at. Maybe he accelerated too soon, maybe he is deemed to have held people up when he shouldn't have done within that lap, the formation lap, but he's being looked at. So De Falco leads, but it's not a given that all is faultless here. So they're going through is Niels Lagrange. He's being chased by Kiko Galbiati. And Galbiati in 5th place. There's confirmation that the leader is under investigation for the start procedure. Stuart Middleton chasing on behind him and has just done the absolute best in the 1st sector as he tries to bring down that gap of 1.8 seconds now. And this is a replay of the start, so have a look at De Falco. He accelerates in advance of the start line that's there, so maybe that's deemed to have been a full start, a jump, an out of position start. The officials are looking at it, and Daniele Galbiati, who is the race director, may well send that up the chain to the stewards, and they'll have a look and see what develops. So right now, Alberto De Falco leads on the road, but he's going to be coming under attack, that is for sure, as the field turns downhill with the first 10 minutes nearly up. Looking there at the car of Samuel Sladecka, going strongly as yesterday. In fact, the Sladeckas had a good race and ended up in 5th spot. And right now, 7th is Samuel Sladecka, but he's crawling all over the back of Bartosz Padlieski in the green car of Imperiali Racing here. So there you've got number 44, that is Kiko Galbiati. Started 3rd, currently in 5th place, and having been done by Lagrange off the start, yet to find a way past him. Up to Blanchimont they turn now through that long, fast left-hander. Alberto De Falco still leads the way. He's still done the fastest lap of the race as well. Samuel Sladecka brakes hard, turns into the bus stop, and a replay here of Andrei Lewandowski getting into the back of Eskelinen and turning him around at the piff-paff and clattering off the side. And that, I think, has done the rear suspension of Eskelinen's car. Yes, it's got a very wobbly wheel, as you can see. So Eskelinen rejoins, but that is him done as far as the race is concerned, I fear. So he was leading the AM category. Lewandowski in Pro-Am makes contact, so Gilles Vanelay will take the class lead. And the team manager of the leading car being summoned to race control. So Alberto Di Folco does lead on the road, but I think the story is about to continue because the team being summoned to see the race director now. Up to Lecombe comes Niels Lagrange running fourth, then it's Galbiati behind him, and there looks Stadecka now got himself up past Bartosz Pawieski. So Pawieski falls back one place. There's Julien Fauchereau, who's the leading Pro-Am driver in this car, shared with Showtrap Kazava. Fauchereau in for Harold Schlegelman for this weekend, as down the hill goes Samuel Stadecka once more, turns through Bruxelles and drops down now towards the left-hander of Speaker's Corner. And a replay here of the cars going through Eau Rouge. Up the curb bounces Stadecka. You see how that affects the line through the corner, as well as how much it leans on the suspension. So Alberto Di Folco is the leader, but for how much longer? Although he's got this gap of 2.5 seconds, now that there is the team manager heading to see the race director and the stewards, it could all unravel, and that will be very bad news for him and Davide Venditti, as into the pit lane now comes number 33, the damaged car of Mikko Eskelinen. That's going to put him and Jake Rattenbury, the British driver, out of the race. Up through Blanchimont goes Middleton. Their third is Sergei Afanasiev. And look at the gap he's opened up now over Niels Lagrange, who comes through in fourth spot. In fifth place is Kiko Galbiati. In sixth now, Samuel Stadecka pressing on nicely. Stadecka trying to get onto terms with the opposition as they come to the approach once more to the bus stop chicane. So through they come, over the timing line, and there you've got then the battle on for fourth, fifth, sixth, all in a line, going now through La Source. And it's Alberto Di Folco with the race lead of 2.8 seconds. And there's the incident between Lewandowski and Eskelinen is being looked at by the officials as well now. There is Lagrange up towards Lecombe. Still leading in Pro-Am in a good 8th overall. There, the Artline Team Georgia car. So Julien Fauchereau well clear in the class lead because he's 8th and the opposition is 16th overall, JM Littmann. The car that he shares with Luca Di Marchi, a long way back relative to Formula Renault Guillaume Fauchereau, well clear in the class lead at the moment. But of course that could all change in the second stint of the race as down the hill heads once more. The Julien Fauchereau car, as I say, 8th overall, leading in Pro-Am here. So the lead gap between Di Folco and Middleton is 2.8 seconds, and Julien Fauchereau trying to earn points here for Showtrap Kazava. There you got the Pro-Am Cup standings. Downhill they tumble once more, and they're going through is 99. That is Robert Zwinger. Now Zwinger is running second currently in the AM Cup, and he's 2.2 seconds behind this car of Gilles Vanelay. Vanelay goes through. So through they turn, and right now 89, which is for Gilles Vanelay in 9th place overall. So there you've got the Pro-Am leader And the AM battles rage on behind as the cars now come through Blanchimont. 77 is some way back in the classification currently. That's the car of Stephen Licorice. Licorice currently in 14th place overall. The race leaders now come once more out of the bus stop over the timing line. So through La Source goes 26, the car of Benoit Saint-Moulin. That's the leading Lamborghini Cup entry at the moment, as it heads once more down through La Source. So right now, Alberto Di Folco is on lap 7 as the overall race leader. And still we await more news as to this investigation regarding the team manager's visit to see the officials. So the lead car building up the gap nicely, 3 seconds being the margin. Down the hill once more comes Di Folco. And so as he tries to build up the lead, all he can do is concentrate now on driving as fast as he can, pushing as hard as he can. We'll wait and see what pans out with the officials. Andrei Lewandowski is in the pit lane incidentally as well. Remember, he was involved in the incident with Escalanen. He's picked up damage as well, so it's not been a good race for Lewandowski. The car first of all ground to a halt on pit out, got it into the race, and then has drama out on the circuit. So Lewandowski himself is a retirement. The incident between him and Escalanen is under investigation anyhow, but little will it really matter anymore, seeing that it looks like both cars have been eliminated. So the field now turns over the timing line. The gap was 3 seconds on the last lap. Is it going to go up? Seemingly, Alberto Di Folco has got the measure of Stuart Middleton. The gap is 3.3 seconds now as they come over the line. There in third place is Sergei Afanasiev, and in fourth spot Niels Lagrange, keeping Kiko Galbiati at bay. Then Samuel Sladecka in sixth place. Galbiati's pace a bit mystifying in this, that he's not going any quicker. He's not bringing the gap down against Lagrange, and therefore he's giving Vito Postiglione a lot of hard work to do. And as I say, that's the curious factor, because in earlier races, okay, maybe it's against pro-am opposition, he's always looked good as Galbiati, but it's just not really clicking for him right now. So there, going through, is the fight between Galbiati and Sladecka. Gap coming down in the sectors and into the braking zone now for Les Combes they come. So Samuel Sladecka turns through Les Combes, still hustling on behind Galbiati, who in turn is doing his best to get onto terms with Niels Lagrange, but it ain't happening for him thus far. Sladecka's, I think I'm right in saying, first time out this year as well, so an impressive arrival in the championship as they come now through the right-hander of Bruxelles, downhill. All of this playing into the hands of Lagrange. And Alberto Di Folco's start procedure, no further action. There's been a word with the team, and the officials have had a look and another look, and they've decided that, yeah, all is good. So there's no case to answer, and Alberto Di Folco therefore carries on in the lead of the race, meaning that Stuart Middleton, who is second, has got to keep on pushing, because he can't get the race lead with any sort of a penalty. It's got to be down to his efforts and all those of Jack Bartholomew in the second stint of the race. So through comes Alberto Di Folco. Runs wide out of Blanchimont up the curb, and then comes to the bus stop chicane once more. Brakes, turns right, turns left, and up towards the end of a lap, which brings him to within just over a minute of the pit window opening. Now, Di Folco is a quicker driver than is Davide Venditti. He's more experienced in these cars, so he will stay out for a longer period of time, therefore. Through he comes, and down now towards the braking zone for La Source. Stuart Middleton, 3.2 seconds back in second place, and then Sergei Afanasiev running in third. And he equally is just not making the progress here, is he? The gap is not coming down between second and third. We're now getting driving standards flags being waved at people. The first one to receive being 67, that's now J.M. Littman. And another one is Jose Collado, who had a spin, did he not, earlier on in the race. So there is Sladecka now, right on the back of Kiko Galbiati. This is for 5th place as they climb the hill. A little bit wide there goes Galbiati off the road, runs back on again. Blasts up now towards Les Combes. And Alberto Di Falco hangs on to the race lead. Niels Lagrange doing a very good job here of keeping Galbiati behind him for 4th and 5th, and their 6th is Samuel Sladecka. At the rear of the field, it is the car of Libor Dvoracek, who started last on the grid. 66 of Jakub Knoll, still down in 12th place. Surprising that progress is not being made. Right, pit window is open, and that could be of interest to the midfield and the back markers to get in early and get the stop out of the way. We're currently on lap number 9, and the race leader is still then Alberto Di Falco. There you've got the car of Lagrange down towards campus, and Kiko Galbiati tucked up behind him. Through they go, and wide, all up the curb goes Galbiati, scrabbles his way back onto the road and hangs onto the place, but for how much longer? Because there right on his tail is Sladecka. And although that did slightly compromise Galbiati, he's managed to recover from that. So he blasts now up towards Blanchimont, out of which come the race leaders. And Alberto Di Falco still leads the way. Now, is he going to come in? No, he will maximise his time behind the wheel. Middleton stays out as well. What about Afanasiev to give way early to Danny Cruz? No, it's worth doing because the pit lane is relatively quiet. J.M. Littman is in, and also in, and it's a solo effort this, Pichai Wirawawampong, the Thai driver. Lagrange stays out. Galbiati for the pit lane then, so he bails from 5th. First stopper of the leading group, Kiko Galbiati, comes then now into the pit lane to give way to Vito Postiglione, and therefore maximising the time that Vito is in the car for. This could be a very important early pit stop, as you see, surprisingly also staying out Bartosz Pazdiewski, because he's not really made progress in this stint, and the longer he stays out now gives Karol Bash, his partner, more work to do. Down they come. Into the pits is Galbiati. He will clamber out, and in gets Vito Postiglione. More for the pit lane here. As soon as you get to the white line, hit the brakes, and so in comes Gilles Vannelet, who's also on duty within the 24 hours. In fact, he's got a busy day ahead of him. And there is Vito Postiglione being strapped in. Another one going for the pit lane there, by the look of it, is going to be Jakub Knoll, who's had another, frankly, frustrating first stint. He's just not delivered the pace that his experience would suggest he should have. So there, tyre pressure's checked, adjusted if needs be. Postiglione gets ready to go. The Eskelin and Lewandowski incident that's put them both out of the race will be looked at after the race. And there is the hard-charging race leader in and amongst the back markers now. He's just put a lap on the man that started at the rear of the grid, Libor Dvoracek. So Dvoracek's car 21st. Away goes Postiglione. So now the pit stop cycle through. There going through is Alberto Di Falco. And the race leader comes up through the curb, Paul Frere, 3.3 seconds to the good last time. 66 there is serving its stop. Jakub Knoll to give way to Josef Zaruba. So Jakub Knoll, as I say, didn't have a great first stint. Josef Zaruba, former Radical racer, former Renault racer, he will take over. And then the two of them, who were 6th equal coming into the weekend in the Pro Cup, will hopefully have a better result in the second stint. De Falco down towards the bus stop. Big slide, catches it, stays out of course for another lap. And here he comes over the line, up past the pits now. So Alberto Di Falco it is that leads the way, and the margin that he's got currently is 4.1 seconds over Stuart Middleton. That's going up all the time. Way off the road goes Sladecka. Back on he comes. Others bail for the pit lane, but Sladecka makes a real meal out of the bus stop. Comes through and now accelerates up past the pits. Replay of the slide from Alberto Di Falco, but Sladecka was even more dramatic when he got the bus stop all crossed up on that lap. And here's the replay of Sladecka accelerating through the corner, big slide, and he catches it, but that trajectory puts him off the road and back on again. As to the pit lane goes Lagrange and also Pazievski now. So, race leader remains Alberto Di Folco. And there, down the hill, battles will continue into the second stint of the race here, as Alberto Di Folco, with a 4-second cushion currently over Stuart Middleton, works his way through the traffic here. So Alberto Di Folco from Stuart Middleton, from Sergei Afanasiev, up to 4th, Samuel Sladecka. That car still yet to stop. There going through is Di Folco. So the race leader pushes on, still building this gap over Stuart Middleton. And then Sergei Afanasiev in 3rd spot, a further 4.9 seconds back. They're ready to go. Is 77. Stephen Licorice brought the car in. Thomas Padovani will now take that over as the leader comes into the bus stop. So to the end of the lap, Di Folco, another one in the book. They've got to time this right because you need the leading car in, you need all the cars in before the window closes. And so up front remains Di Folco, Middleton in 2nd spot, the gap down a bit, that's 3.8 seconds, that might be down to traffic more than anything else, but Stuart Middleton is that little bit nearer to him. In 3rd place is Afanasiev. Away there goes Padovani. And more for the pit lane as these regulation stops cycle through. So there is 22. That is Dvoracek to give way to Kurt Wagner. And the teams look at the stopwatch, ready to release the cars. 98 seconds it is. You need to have done the stop in. There are 1 or 2 that might be a little bit under that. So we'll wait and see what the officials elect to do. Pit stops for Carol Bash and also Anthony Lambert are under investigation. They are the 2 that look to be under by about 0.6 of a second. So it should be 98 seconds, and they did a 97.4. So number 8, Carol Bash, number 30, Lambert, are under investigation for being fractionally under on the pit stops, and the officials are having a look at that. So as the field comes downhill for the 12th time, Alberto Di Folco staying out with the pit window coming to an end, so he should really be in this time to be on the safe side. There he is, Di Folco through the traffic, gets up past 89, that has gone back into the race after its pit stop. That car is in the hands of now Nico Goma. He's taking it over from Gilles Vanaday. It is in 15th place. Di Folco using all of the width of the road as he comes now through Campus. They're good to go, number 64, once the stop is completed. And that is the Greek driver Antonios Vassos for the Target Racing team. But Di Folco presses on, and there is less than a lap time left in the window, so he's got to be in this time. And well, let's see how he gets on in the stop and how Davide Venditti, his co-driver, gets on in the second stint of the race. So Alberto Di Folco into the pits now, leader in. You'll see Stuart Middleton and you'll see the car behind of Julien Falchereau in as well. Danny Cruz, incidentally, has pitted, so, or rather, Sergei Afanasiev has pitted for Danny Cruz, so that's a shuffle. That's 26 ready to go, which is the car of the Semolins, father and son, and Francois Semolin now takes over. Into the race he goes. There is Alberto Di Folco, who will bail and put Davide Venditti into the car. Middleton in as well to give way to Jack Bartholomew. Julien Falchereau is in, so all basically those that haven't yet stopped have to do it on this lap, so the pit lane is getting busier and busier and busier. There is Superchai Wiraborwampong, who will be coming under attack from those that have stopped. Now, that's Vito Postiglione, who's got work to do, of course, given the relative lack of pace in the first stint of Kiko Galbiati. He's a little bit delayed going there through the piff path. Wiraborwampong is pounced upon by Postiglione. He goes through on the inside down towards campus now. So Postiglione has got himself ahead, seemingly, of number 30, which is now Anthony Lombert at the wheel. Those two crossed swords early on in the race yesterday. And up towards Blanchimont comes not only Postiglione, but also Carole Bache, and he's now going to try and find a way past Lombert as well. So this is the position. Carole Bache looks for a way to wriggle past the Leipert car. Can't do it yet. Down to the bus stop they come. So into the right, into the left, they will turn. And then up towards the timing line. So Alberto Di Falco's car now in the hands of Davide Venditti. Back into the race. Jack Bartholomew takes over number 32 in second place. Falchero still in to give way to Shotrap Kazava. But we need to see where the leaders are relative to these cars. And as they come now up through Les Combes, there is number 9, which is Davide Venditti. And ahead on the road is an Imperiale racing car, but it's 88 of Hans Fabry. So that's not the Postiglione nor the Bache entry. They're not that far behind anymore either, that's for certain. So gap coming down a little bit as far as the overall situation is concerned, with, of course, differing drivers in the cars now. So there is 44. That's the car in the hands of Postiglione. 5th he runs at the moment. We've got a drive-through penalty coming for number 26. So the car of the Semoulins speeding in the pit lane, and that car is going to be given a drive-through penalty. There's confirmation of it, drive-through for the Semoulins. So Alberto Di Falco has given way to Davide Venditti, and the gap currently stands at 2.9 seconds. So let's see next where we run as far as that gap is concerned. There is the penalised Semoulin car going now up through the approach to Bruxelles. Into the right-hander it will come, and the Semoulins are currently in 12th place, but set to tumble. So it is Venditti from Bartholomew. There is Danny Cruz. He turns out of La Source now. Through in 4th place Postiglione, 5th is Lombert, and 6th there is Carole Bache. 7th is now Filip Sladecka. So the lead gap still 2.3 seconds. Last time Jack Bartholomew slightly quicker than was Venditti. There is a 1.6 second penalty coming for number 8, which is Carole Bache for not respecting the pit stop time. And there could be a similar penalty heading the way of the Lagrange Lombert car as well, because that too was a little bit short on the pit stop and is being looked at. So Alberto Di Falco has done the fastest lap. There is his car. It's Davide Venditti at the wheel of it, and he turns now up through Bruxelles. Goes out of the left-hander that plunges you downhill. And there you can see Jack Bartholomew behind, and the gap is coming down and down and down. In Sector 1, 6/10 pull back, so it's game on here. Jack Bartholomew with 16 minutes on the clock is closing all the time on the race leaders. The Bonaldi Motorsport car from second on the grid goes through the piff path, back onto the power. And now Jack Bartholomew sprints his way once more down towards campus. There's Danny Krus. Now Krus is running in 3rd place, and he's sooner into a stint, so we're already getting proper lap times out of Krus, but he's not actually as quick in the 1st sector, but he is quicker in the 2nd. Danny Krus is catching now Bartholomew, so the top 3 concertinaing here. 15 minutes of the race to go. There's Vito Postiglione. Now Postiglione is 4th. He's not lapping as quickly as De Falco did at the start of the race, but he's lapping quickly, that's for sure. He's taking with him there, look, the car of Hans Fabry, his teammate. He was a lap down. Over the timing line they go. Out of Lassour's big squeal of tyres, and up front Venditti 1.9 seconds now ahead of Jack Bartholomew. Danny Krus a further 2.9 seconds back. Last time, oops, drama there, and it's 26, is it not? The Semolan's already penalised, getting going again. Krus is quicker on the last lap than Bartholomew, who is quicker than Venditti, and quicker than all of them is Postiglione. Looking good this for the end of the race. Not looking good. The Semolans, they've got this penalty anyway for speeding. Now a spin, and another penalty, a 1.7 second penalty, goes the way of number 30, again for not respecting the pit stop time. So Lambert and Lagrange now being penalised. Race leaders through, 13 minutes still to go, and Davide Venditti then, knowing that Jack Bartholomew is inching up onto the back of him. Another penalty is coming now, and it's for number 69, and that is going to be the Sladetskas. They get a ½ second penalty for not respecting the pit stop time. So it's a race of penalties. It's a race now of shrinking gaps as Davide Venditti comes once more down to the bus stop chicane, and he goes deep into the corner. That's going to cost him even more time, so Jack Bartholomew closes up towards the timing line. They will come, and the gap, which was 1.9 seconds, is going to be down yet further. Past the pits they come. Now Venditti under attack. Bartholomew is closing, and Krus getting closer as well. It's 9/10 between the top 2, and a further 9/10 second and third. To be accurate, 0.912 versus 0.913. There in replay is what Venditti did wrong. Just too much speed carried into the bus stop. Slides in, slides wide, hangs onto it, scrabbles through the corner, but in turn has to try and regroup and now fend off perhaps the inevitable, which is Jack Bartholomew getting closer and closer all the time. Bartholomew is on the tail of Venditti, and he knows that this is going to be a battle not only to get the lead but then to hang on to it, because Krus is catching, building up really nicely this, and then a further 6 seconds back is Postiglione running in 4th place now. So as the cars make the run down to Bruxelles, Krus pulls out, has a look, pulls back in again. Can't find a way through there. Downhill, Davide Venditti racing for his first win in the championship, but right now it doesn't really look as though it's going to happen for him because of the pace of those behind. It's going to be very difficult for him to hang on to this. Through they come into Pouin. 11.5 minutes of the race to go. Can he hang on in there? Can he stay up front? They're on currently the 16th lap. We got 21 laps in the race yesterday, and there we have now 3 for the lead. But it's Postiglione that's the one to look for, because he's quicker in the sectors than these 3, and he's not that far behind. He's chipping away with 11 minutes to go. Can Postiglione get up there before the end of the race? Through they turn once more through that long, fast right-hander. Through the Cour Paul Frere they come. There is Bartholomew, still hunting on for the race lead, but here actually Venditti just fractionally further ahead, and that's possibly because now Bartholomew, the Middle East champion of a couple of years back, has to think about defending from Danny Cruz. Cruz runs way wide off the road and back on again through Blanchimont, and now down towards the bus stop they come. Brake hard. We've had a change for 9th place, incidentally, where Josef Zaruba has got himself ahead of Nico Gomar now. Over the timing line goes Venditti. 9/10 last time was the margin, and this time as he goes through, it's 7/10 of a second between the two of them. So they go through La Source, and it's 11/10 covering the top 3, and Postiglione is only 5 seconds now rather than 8 off the lead. Postiglione could be the winner yet, the way that this race is panning out. He's absolutely storming along. Still, he's not lapping as quick as DeFalco did early on, but Vito Postiglione's last lap was a 2:23. These guys are 25-26s. Cruz for second place now. Comes up to have a go at Bartholomew, who's not been able to have a go for the race lead, and he's in danger of losing that second place. Cruz looks to the inside, looks to the outside. Can't do it yet, but he's trying to level with Bartholomew. He's on the outside line, and Danny Cruz goes through. Good move. Danny Cruz goes up into second place. Look in the background, wait for the green car. Postiglione is so close to being up with them now. He's a little bit wide as he comes there out of the chicane, Les Combes, down now towards Bruxelles. So it's game on as far as the race lead is concerned, but no longer is it Venditti defending for the British driver Bartholomew. He's got the Dutchman, Danny Cruz, in his first season of Lamborghini racing, going really strongly, right up behind him now. So down they come, heading this time to Pouan, and this time he's lap 17 as they swing through that long, fast left. Downhill they go. Now, can Venditti hang on to the lead, keep Cruz at bay before Postiglione arrives on the scene? That is what Postiglione needs, because I think as soon as Cruz gets through, he'll get clear. Postiglione is hustling on in the first sector. He pulled back half a second. And 3.9 he was off the back of the Dutchman, so he's getting there. Bit by bit, corner by corner, sector by sector. Through they turn once more then, out of the Cour Paul Frere. There is number 3. That is Danny Cruz, who's, as I say, in his first year of Lamborghini racing, but has looked really strong this season. The former karter, the former F4 racer, both in the North European zone and the Spanish Championship. He's raced comparable cars, if you like, in the Dutch Supercar Challenge, as well as also being a TCR driver on occasions. Into the bus stop he comes, he's second. Goes right, goes left, and then up across the line. There is Postiglione in the background. So last time, 5 seconds covered the top 4. This time, the gap is going to be 2.4 seconds covering the top 4. And in fairness to Venditti, he is still hanging on to that race lead. Danny Cruz now comes up to have a go at him. How much longer, though, before Bartholomew is under attack from the charging Vito Postiglione behind him? It can't be far off, surely now. Uphill, battle on for the race lead. It could now change because Davide Venditti is under attack. Danny Cruz in the wheel tracks in the slipstream. It was 4/10, but forget that because it's almost side by side as now to the inside line goes Cruz. He thinks about it, he brakes as late as he dares. Job done, through he goes on the inside. Danny Cruz takes over the race lead. Venditti drops to second, and look, Postiglione is on the back of Bartholomew just about now for third place as they head down the hill once again. Into Bruxelles. Bartholomew now has another go at trying to get past Venditti. This time it's for second place. And Postiglione is right on his tail as well, looking for a way by. They drop downhill once again, but instantly you can see the way that Danny Cruz is getting away, and that's the bad news for Postiglione. That's exactly what he did not want to happen, because now he's going to struggle, I think, to get up with Cruz, even if he can get through the traffic. As soon as he's been released, Danny Cruz is pulling away. He's building up that gap all the while. So the Bonaldi car up front, it was a 1-2 for the team yesterday. It's a 1-3 at the moment, but Cruz leads. Here comes Postiglione to have a go at Bartholomew. Bartholomew out of campus. The car just with a little twitch. Now on the defensive, Vito Postiglione comes up to have a go at him. You can see the way that Bartholomew, by defending, is falling away from Davide Venditti. So he's been caught and passed by Cruz, and now Postiglione is all over him like a rash. Down they come, very wide goes Postiglione out of Blanchimont. That might get the race director a little bit agitated. He brakes hard for the bus stop, does the Italian, and he turns through, still not yet finding a way past Bartholomew. We're running out of laps as well. 5.5 minutes are on the clock. This will be the end of lap 18 as they come through. Over the timing line now, Cruz, the new leader, Venditti second, third and fourth, Bartholomew and Postiglione, and that gap is 3/10 at the line, and it's nothing at all as they get through the corner. Postiglione on this lap has got to make the move, and he's got to get after Venditti as fast as he can before that gap widens yet further to the leader, Cruz. In other news, Andrei Lewandowski, I know he's out of the race, but just to complete the story, he's being summoned to the stewards post-race because of the incident with Mikko Eskelinen from earlier on. And there going through is the fight for third, where you've still got Bartholomew just ahead of Postiglione, but it's only just ahead. Here is the move, is it? Yes! Postiglione goes to the outside line. Jack Bartholomew tries to cover on the inside. Postiglione tries to brave it out on the outside, and he can't do it. Slots back in behind. Postiglione being warned about track limits now as he comes out of Les Combes down towards Bruxelles. Is there a gap on the inside? No. Bartholomew being a lot more defensive here than he was against Venditti. To the outside goes Postiglione. He's trying everywhere, but it won't work on the outside line at Bruxelles. Down the hill now. Postiglione is the quicker. Goes for the inside line into Speaker's corner. He's up the curve. This should work for him. It does. Bartholomew goes out wide, and Postiglione committed to the inside line. Job done. Goes through. Absolutely uncompromising that. Vito Postiglione goes through and now should get away, and he's got to get away to go after Venditti. He was effectively 3 seconds adrift. So now what can he do to bring down that gap? Turns through the piff-paff. Can second place be on the cards? What's happening up front is that Cruz is lapping in the 2:24s. Now Postiglione should be quicker than that, but he's got to get up there. You can see the way he's getting away from Bartholomew, and here was the move. To the inside, into Speaker's corner. There was just about room for him, and Bartholomew, of course, then put himself on the outside line. Couldn't turn in, because on the inside committed was Vito Postiglione. He's through into third place. Hard racing, but good racing. And Vito Postiglione makes the move, and he makes it stick. He goes third. Next target then, there. Davide Venditti in the car that led the first half of the race in the hands of Alberto Di Folco. Over the timing line goes the leader, and the gap 3.7 to Venditti, 5 seconds to Postiglione. That time loss being stuck behind Bartholomew has gone against the Italian driver. We've got this lap and one more, I reckon, looking at the clock. So 2 laps to go. Here's a replay of how the move Danny Cruz got second away from Bartholomew, round the outside into Les Combes, up the inside, easily done for second spot. And this was the race lead move by Danny Cruz. Again, commits at Les Combes, gets the inside line this time, and goes past the less experienced Davide Venditti. So excellent driving being put on display here by the race leader, Danny Cruz. Rest of the field through. In Pro-Am, incidentally, it still shows Abkazova ahead of the car of Luca De Marchi. And then for the other classes, the Am Cup and the Lamborghini Cup, well, for the AMs, you've got at the moment Nico Gomar leading, and Lamborghini Cup has gone the way of Gerard van der Horst, the indefatigable Gerard van der Horst, leading once again. Now, downhill comes this battle for second place. Danny Cruz has gone. He's checked out as far as the race lead is concerned, but still we've got this battle going on behind. Who is going to be second? Is it going to be Venditti, or is it going to be Postiglione with one more lap to run at the end of this? Swooping downhill now. Here's the run towards the piff-paff once more. Turn right and turn left. Through piff-paff, back onto the power. And now a sideways Postiglione throwing everything at this. He knows he's not going to win the race because that gap is too great and it's widening. But what he might be able to do at least is to come through into second position. So Kiko Galbiati's pace early has gone against them, but certainly now really hustling on is Vito Postiglione. But Davide Venditti is doing as good a job as he can to defend here, but can he do it for a lap more than a bit? Less than a lap time left in the race. The leaders are already to the bus stop, and so Danny Cruz will start his last lap in a moment as Postiglione tees up a move on the inside line and he can't go through. And now he comes through the right, through the left of the bus stop chicane once more. So past the pits to start the last lap go the race leaders. Danny Cruz through, and he's also got a back marker between him and Venditti. Bartholomew now dropping away in that fourth place. I wonder if he might be caught by Karel Bash on this last lap. The gap's only 1.9 seconds. Bartholomew's last lap when he went through in number 32 was a 2:25, a 2:24 from Bash, so the gap is certainly coming down, but not by enough. I think Bartholomew might just hang on to that fourth place. Now, what about second? There is Venditti going through, and he's still being chased hard by Vito Postiglione. Postiglione looks to the inside, he's got the move, has he this time? Surely the gap is there, yes! Vito Postiglione on the last lap goes second, but the trouble is he's got to make up 4.1 seconds against the race leader Danny Cruz. That ain't gonna happen, but not for the want of trying. So Vito Postiglione, after a really good effort, comes now down through Bruxelles. And as I say, he's not done yet as the car accelerates once more down to Speaker's Corner, but Danny Cruz able to make good his escape. That shows you his pace relative to Venditti and Bartholomew, because he caught them, he passed them, and he's pulled away easily from them. So Vito Postiglione, very rapid indeed in this stint. Alberto Di Folco still with that fastest lap of the race from earlier on, and there is Postiglione through the traffic into the pit path for the last time. Danny Cruz up through Campus and now on to the Cours Paul Frere. He will sprint through that right-hander, now using a bit of curb on the outside. Yesterday, Cruz was rather energetic with the track limits. Today, all good seemingly, but the officials, of course, will be making sure that all is done properly here. Cruz using all of the road there to tee the car up to get the line to sweep into Blanchimont. Curb on the outside, down to the bus stop, checkered flag at the ready. He and Sergei Afanasiev were double winners last time out at Zandvoort. They're going to be single winners at Spa, but Benelux events are good for them, clearly. So second yesterday, winners today. Flag falls for Sergei Afanasiev and Danny Cruz, who comes across the line to win at Spa in race 2 of the weekend. Davide Venditti was second, but it's going to go the way of Vito Postiglione and Kiko Galbiati now, as the car breaks the timing beam. And for third, Davide Venditti and Alberto Di Folco. There, the cars all being slowed down because they are needed to quickly swing right into the paddock to get back to the presentation area. Fourth goes to Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton, Karel Bash and Bartosz Padieski. Fifth, Anthony Lambert and Niels Lagrange. Sixth, ahead of Philip and Samuel Sladecka. And here, more battles to be resolved. Number 12 is the Pro-Am leading car. That is of Shota Abkhazova and Julian Falchero. Behind is Josef Zaruba. They're battling for position, but the Pro-Am win will go the way of the blue car, because up now, over the timing line, goes Abkhazova, and so he will finish in that 8th place overall. So as far as the Pro Cup is concerned, that's easy. It's Cruz and Afanasiev from Postiglione, Galbiati, Venditti and Di Folco taking third. Pro-Am, Abkhazova and Falchero the winners from Luca Di Marchi and JM Littman. They're the only 2 in it, which is a bit of a surprise. Then in the AMS, as you see, a very, very happy Danny Cruz being embraced by the team. The AMS, Nico Gomart from Robert Zwinger from Antonios Vossos. And what about the Lamborghini Cup? It is Gerard van der Horst from Jose Collado. And then the Semolans taking 3rd place. So a really good effort that by Danny Cruz to come through as the race winner. And some excellent driving in that second stint to get himself into the mix. There is a equally happy Sergei Afanasiev. Celebrates the win with him. And then for second place, Vito Postiglione, after a really, really good second stint in that race, getting the car into contention. And he will come through along with Kiko Galbiati. But still some frustration for those that didn't quite have the pace that they wanted. So Vito Postiglione along with Kiko Galbiati take second spot. And Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev are the winners of race 2 this weekend. They're with Dakota.
Guys, congratulations. Danny, the revenge you wanted, correct?
Yeah, it's what I said before the race. I was going to give 110%, and I did it. And 2 beautiful overtakes, and yeah, we did it. We won. Great.
Happy?
Absolutely, we did a good start. We managed to stay third. We managed to keep the tires clear for him, and he managed a fantastic job, just a fantastic one.
And to add, an immaculate pit stop. Well done, guys.
And one more thing, thanks to the team, because the team did the job with the pit stop, and the team gave us such a car, which gave us possibility to win.
Congratulations, guys. Go get your trophies.
So the drivers in a moment will head up to the podium. Vito Postiglione then taking second place. The gap at the flag, 5.4 seconds at flag for Davide Venditti and Alberto Di Folco taking that third place in the end. So fourth, Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton, fifth, Karol Bash and Bartosz Pawliecki, and then sixth to Anthony Lambert and Niels Lagrange. So class winners will also make their way to the podium shortly, and then we can get the presentations underway at the end of this second race of the weekend. Just to confirm the way that they came across the line, Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev the victors by 5.4 seconds from Postiglione and Galbiati second, Venditti and Di Folco taking third ahead of Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton fourth, Karol Bash and Bartosz Pawliecki fifth, Niels Lagrange and Anthony Lambert, despite that penalty, taking sixth spot ahead of the Sladetskas. Then Abkhazova in eighth place with Julian Falchero, Josef Zaruba and Jakob Noll taking ninth, and Nico Gomar rounding out the top 10. In so doing, winning the AMS ahead of Robert Zwinger and then Luca Di Marchi. Next car home was Antonius Vossos ahead of Padovani in 14th, sharing with Stephen Licorice. Oliver Freimuth 15th ahead of Jonathan van der Horst, Jose Collado, and then the penalised Semonans in 18th, Hans Fabry 19th, Supachai Weeraborwampong came next at the end of 20 laps for him. He was a lap down. Kurt Wagner and Libor Dvoracek finishing in 21st place. So the two that we lost was thanks to that contact, namely Lewandowski and Eskelinen. As far as the championship is concerned now, Sergei Afanasiev and Danny Cruz take over the title race lead, so a very good weekend, a second and a win, putting them up at the top of the standings, ahead of Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew, Vito Postiglione and Kiko Galbiati, third ahead of Bash and Pawliecki. These, as I say, the overall standings, so there are a number of drivers that aren't here this weekend as well, frustratingly, and so there are some that have gained ground, but in their classes, the contest is perhaps rather more focused for them. So it's a good weekend for Shota Abkhazova with 2 Pro-Am wins, and we'll get the drivers, as I say, to the podium shortly as the fans are preparing themselves for more action on track. Busy day, of course, of support races, never mind the start of the 24 hours itself, mid-afternoon here. So they're looking down the pit straight. The circuit briefly falls quiet before the next activity on the circuit, and that brings to an end the activity for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Not the end of the weekend, though, if you're a Lamborghini fan, because there is still, of course, 24 hours of GT racing to come here with a lot of Lamborghinis on that grid. So there we've got the marshals coming onto the circuit for the grid for the next race. And a look back at the best bits of race 2 of the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. It began, of course, with this battle for the lead between Alberto Di Folco on the inside and Stuart Middleton on the outside as they turned their way through La Source and plunged downhill for the first time. Sergei Afanasiev ran third in the early stages, and Kiko Galbiati slightly delayed and also losing pace off the start. He dropped down the order as a consequence. As the field turned its way up through the bus stop, we had an early spin, which was Jose Collado getting it wrong with a little bit too much welly. Around he went, but he got back on track and fought his way into contention as the race wore on. More midfield battles. Unfortunately, though, Lewandowski got into the back of Mikko Eskelinen and turned him around and then gave him another whack. They were both out of the race. Lewandowski has an appointment with the stewards in the next 15 minutes. Pit stop window opened, Many bailed early, and Alberto Di Folco was one who stayed out for as long as he could in the stint. So too Stuart Middleton, maximising the time behind the wheel for the quicker drivers before they handed over to the co-driver for the second part of the race. And that put therefore Davide Venditti ahead of Jack Bartholomew, ahead of Danny Krus. Krus was on a mission, and as Venditti had a slide into the bus stop, the top three concertinaed. That became the top four when Vito Postiglione arrived on the scene. So first of all, Danny Krus came up to relieve Jack Bartholomew of second place. The outside into Les Combes, the inside through the middle of it. Job done. Next target for second position, and then the race lead. Davide Venditti was the driver he had a go at. This is another look at how Krus got second, through on the inside, but then Davide Venditti fell behind him as well. Postiglione was also on the attack, and it wasn't long before he was on the tail of the Bonaldi car for third place. For the race lead, it was up the inside this time where the move came, and through went the Danny Krus Bonaldi car. Once ahead, never headed. Postiglione getting stuck in traffic. So a win for Danny Krus and Sergei Afanasiev. Next stop, the Nürburgring for the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. From Spa, from David Addison, goodbye.